have a real life scenario that we're going to use linear modelling to represent to answer some questions about it. Now, if we have a read of this problem, it doesn't give us an initial value or a rate of change. So let's have a look at what it does give us. It tells us that if they sell the book for $15, then 800 copies will be sold each day. It also tells us that if they change the price to $20, then only 550 copies will be sold each day. So what does this remind you of? We can have a look at the graph. It gives us a little bit of a hint. Here we have price down the bottom and copies sold per day. $15 and $20 are both prices, therefore they represent numbers on this x-axis. So we could write them both down as a value of x. And the corresponding y values would be 800 and 550. So that means we now have two ordered pairs that we can plot on our grid. One at 15 and 800 up here, and one at 20 and 550 over here. Now when you get these sorts of problems, you often get a series of questions that guide you through how to analyse it, but also ask you to do that as well. This one asks us to identify the ordered pairs or coordinates, and we've already done that, and we have plotted them on the graph. It then asks us to think whether or not a linear model is suitable and why or why not. Let's have a look at the grid again. Now, would we be able to draw a straight line connecting these 2 points? Yes, it seems pretty easy. We don't need a curve of any description. So we can assume that we can fit a linear model to this problem. It then asks us for a rate of change. Now there are two ways of doing this. You can use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 and just substitute your values in. So you get 800 minus 550 over 15 minus 20, which gives you 250 over negative 5, which is going to give you an overall rate of change of negative 50. As another way of doing it, especially if you're more visual, you can draw a triangle on your graph and you can count your rise and your run. Now remember, when drawing this triangle, we're not allowed to lift our pen, therefore we are going down, so it's a negative 250, and our run is 5, which still gives us negative 50 as our rate of change. So either method will work for you. The next question asks, based on the graph, if the company prices the book at $18, how many copies of the book will it sell each day? So let us locate the 18 here on the x-axis and just go up, 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 up until you hit the line and then simply read across. And that is at 650. So that's 650 copies sold per day. Now it's going to ask what price the company should charge to sell 700 copies per day. So let's locate the 700 and go across to our line again and drop and read that value. And at that, to make sure we're selling 700 copies a day, they would have to charge $17 per book. Now this problem could ask you to find any amount now that you have the line drawn in. You could find the amount at 19, 16, 15, whatever, or just as easily find what they need to charge if you want to sell a particular amount of books for the day, just by going across and reading the graph. Now 400, we would have to make our graph bigger, so anything lower than this 500 mark, we would have to make sure that we extend our x-axis. But you can do this and you can analyze this and answer all sorts of questions simply by having this graph as a visual for you.